Welcome to the Misogi Mission podcast. My name is Rob Olson, your host, and today's goal is to educate, entertain, and inspire you, our listeners, about fellow dads who are just crushing it out there, taking on Misogis, otherwise known as epic challenges, to raise their standards in all areas of their life. My guest today, Clark Hibbs, Texas man, ultra runner. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. Super excited to be here. Love everything you're doing. And yeah, let's chat.
Right on. So fill us in. How old are you? What's your family like? What do you do for work? And then after that, tell us what your Misogi was.
Yeah. So I'm 33 years old. I am a dad to two beautiful twin daughters who are 4 years old. And for work, I'm a gym owner. I own Yellow Rose Fitness in Houston, Texas. I also own Local Cove Fitness in Houston, Texas. And I've been in the fitness nutrition space for 17 years now. So it's been the majority of my life that I've been doing this. And I love it. It's really, really fun to help other people feel better. That's the main thing that I'm trying to do here.
So you have been in the fitness space. So you're probably a fit dude, but tell us, what was your Misogi and how did you come about this idea?
So the Misogi that I did last year was a 50K ultra trail run in Georgetown, Texas. It was a 50K, which actually ended up being like 51.5K, because if you've ever done a trail run before, they're never exactly what they are.
Yeah. Just
Which
counting.
we'll talk about how disheartened I was whenever I got to mile 31 and there was no finish line in sight. But yes, we did a 50K ultra trail run, and it very, very difficult. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I got into trail running in 2023. And then in 2024, did my first official race in February, which was a half marathon. And I thought, wow, that was really cool and really tough. So then in April, I did a 25K, which was about 15 and a half miles. And then I thought, you know what? Let's do something that's going to scare me. And I'm not sure if I can do it or not, but let's try. And that was the 50K in November.
So prior to 2023, you weren't a runner.
So, I mean, yes and no. The longest distance I had ever run was a half marathon, and I ran a half marathon twice. The first half marathon was in 2021, a few weeks before my girls were born. And I did that one in 2 hours and 30-ish minutes. And then in 2022, I actually trained better. And then I did that half marathon in 1:59. So I
Nice.
checked my box for a sub 2 half marathon and felt good about that.
Who's the pace for the sub 2 half marathon?
It's just below like 906 per mile. So it's not elite by any means whatsoever, but it did feel good. Felt good to get that one done.
And so you did that before you had your twins?
No, so 2021, I did my half marathon.
Okay.
And then, so that was in January, like January 13th or 14th. And then my girls were born January 26th that year. So after that, all running stopped for a while because we were in the throes of twin life.
I think having twins is probably its own Misogi.
They're 4 years old now, and they're getting to the point where my wife and I are both extremely confident with like, "Oh, dude, we got this. Like, it's fine. It's all good." But man, those first 2 years were something else.
Imagine.
It's like being a new parent is hard enough, but just do everything twice, for a newborn. That's the hard part.
So I've got a bunch of kids. I've got 5 kids, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do 5 kids?" But in my head, I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do twins?" Like, I feel like
Right.
that's like exponentially harder.
Yeah. My brother, he has a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then twin 2-year-olds. And
Mm.
that is a whole nother thing that I don't even want to try and tackle.
Alright, so from a dad perspective, walk us through, when did you start getting back into fitness training, and how did you do it?
Yeah, so when the girls were born, I didn't stop working out or anything like that, but I definitely tapered everything back big time. I mean, before that, I was training 4 to 5 days a week. I was taking classes at my gym. I was doing a little bit of running here and there, and it was great. It felt really, really good. But whenever the girls are born and you no longer sleep, and you barely have enough energy just to keep them alive, and then you also have to keep businesses alive, and you have to do something for yourself. So my training dropped back to 3 days a week, very, very minimal effort. I mean, I don't know if listeners are familiar with the RPE scale, but rate of perceived exertion. I subscribed to a 5 RPE for a very, very long time, which was basically like 50% effort every day. Just something that I could do to check the box, keep the momentum going, and to make sure that I didn't fall off. Cause that was my biggest fear, is that I was going to fall off of my fitness and then have to do this like giant uphill climb to get back to things.